Hello Bandits! Thanks to the folks at Kasedo Games, I've been spending a fair amount of time with their new space opera real-time strategy title, IXION. IXION blends space-based city and resource management with exploration of our solar system and beyond. On a search to save humanity, you'll manage the space station Tycoon. Following a genuinely engaging storyline, you'll travel to new stars and new worlds to find a new home. To do this, you'll not only manage construction, power and people within the curvature of the Tycoon itself. To gather resources and new technological breakthroughs along your journey, you'll also need to manage cargo, mining and science vessels out in the reaches of space. In addition to this, you'll also need to manage resources and people within your station itself, as different sectors are blocked off from each other. You'll also find many challenges along the way: solar storms, natural events, industrial strikes and other mysterious happenings will haunt your journey through space. Your science team will help you unlock and upgrade technologies within a decent tech tree, and in doing this, and being incredibly careful along your way, you might just make it to your goal. There's not a great deal of graphic violence or language, but IXION does touch on some rough themes, as you might expect with the struggle for finding a new home for humanity. There are descriptions which younger players may find distressing, such as self-harm as well as other violence and different crimes. In addition to this, the relatively complex nature of the title, while not problematic in itself, may put off younger players. At the time of recording, it's not been rated by PEGI or the ESRB, but our parents' guide says that while it's going to be suitable for older micro bandits, IXION gets a rating of 3 out of 5, noting some concern. There also are not many options when it comes to difficulty, and it's relatively easy to back yourself into a corner in IXION. However, it must be said that I found it to be just complicated enough to provide solid engagement without going overboard and having too much to track. IXION does provide a challenge, and with a solid rolling save pattern you might just get through it, so overall it's picking up a 3 out of 5 tricky rating for accessibility. And with that stacked up, onto the rundown, our 5-point rating for IXION. Gameplay 4 out of 5. I've really enjoyed the blend of city management, survival and exploration within the title. It manages to be complex enough to pull you in and give you things to do. Importantly, it's also far from being too easy, but it achieves this without having overly complicated mechanics. It does lose some marks here, as it's definitely possible to make critical mistakes which you won't realise for another hour or so down the line. However, the streamlined gameplay blending internal and external workings of the Tycoon alongside your remote teams is one of the most enjoyable management systems I've used this year. Visuals 4 out of 5. If you go down as far as you can into the Tycoon streets, things do a little blocky and samey, but zoom out and the visuals can be pretty spectacular. Being able to back out from individual workers to your city and then further to the station and then even further to the star system is genuinely enjoyable, even on the 100th time you do it. You can't zoom in too close on star system maps, and I definitely would like to see more variation within building models, but the mid-scale visuals have absolutely knocked my space socks off. Audio 5 out of 5. From the very beginning, it's clear that thought and care have gone into the music and soundscapes which accompany your journey. The soundtrack itself is exceptional, and while I wasn't expecting it, the voice acting is pretty on point too. I especially enjoyed the different effects on voice clips depending on which view you're currently in, and this is a title which sits open on my desktop for the soundtrack alone. Narrative 5 out of 5. I wasn't expecting an excellent story in IXION, but the team at Bulwark Studios have delivered one anyway. The narrative here has had my jaw on the floor and at times tears in my eyes. I've found myself getting attached to away teams, and I've had my in-game choices lead to both great and tragic consequences. In addition to this smaller stuff, behind everything there is a much larger and darker mystery at play, but no spoilers. Replay 4 out of 5. While the build-up in the initial introduction to the title can be slow, the different choices you make within your expeditions and in the tech tree do provide a different flavour. There are lots of secondary supporting story elements to find along your travels, which also give you a decent enough reason to head back in. Overall, the Pixel Bandits compliance level for IXION is a respectable 8 out of 10. While it does have little niggles here and there, the title does very well to blend the different resource and city management elements with the exploration of different star systems along your journey. I've been pleasantly surprised to find a very engaging narrative alongside this, which also has decent voice acting and player choice behind it as well. It's clear that the Bulwark team of only 15 people have used the time gained by delaying release to good effect here, and ultimately it's been my favourite management title this year and a strong contender for one of my top 10 games overall. IXION manages to be complex without being complicated and expansive without lacking detail. If sci-fi and city management is your thing, then this is one you should absolutely get your hands on. And that's all I've got for you today. Don't forget to check out the extended review at pixelbandits.org and keep your eyes out for more news, reviews and live streams coming soon. If you can spare enough for a coffee, every donation helps us keep Pixel Bandits ad-free and independent, and either way we'll see you again very soon, so don't wander too far.